The pound for pound top fighter in boxing right now is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, I just truly believe he doesn't have to be under my company for me to give a guy props. I'm not like that. You know, if he's ever free and he want to go to any company, if he's a free agent, I would love to work with him if he's free.
Now, what you just heard was the voice of Floyd Mayweather giving his thoughts on Terence Crawford years before the highly anticipated fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford took place. Now we know Terence Crawford just is coming off the biggest win of his career after stopping Errol Spence Jr. in the 9th round, dropping him multiple times throughout the fight and putting on possibly one of the best performances that we've ever seen in the sport of boxing. Floyd Mayweather recently did an interview with Fight Hype in which he was talking a little bit about the fight. He also gave his thoughts on the comparison of performances between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence and himself versus Diego Corrales that took place years ago. One thing that caught my attention during this interview was when Floyd Mayweather said that if he were Errol Spence's trainer, he would not have him fighting at the welterweight division. He would have him fighting at middleweight, 160 pounds, or even at super middleweight at 168 pounds. I found that very interesting because Errol Spence, yes, he is a big welterweight, and he's naturally just a big guy, bigger than Terence Crawford. I would say that Errol Spence probably walks around between 175, maybe 190 at most. Regardless, Errol Spence is a big welterweight, and he's remained a welterweight his whole career. Now, he may be moving up to 154 pounds. We may have seen his last fight being the last one he will fight at welterweight. But nonetheless, Errol Spence has been a welterweight his whole career. He's never missed weight. He's always looked good on the scales. Never had any issues making the actual weight. On the other hand, Terence Crawford was rumored to have missed weight initially during the weigh-in against Errol Spence Jr. That is a rumor. We don't know if that is true or not, but even Terence Crawford himself says he's had struggles making the weight. But the reason I found that interesting is because it almost was Floyd Mayweather throwing a possible excuse out of Errol Spence being weight drained the night of the fight versus Terence Crawford. And in some way that it's going to diminish the credibility that Terence Crawford would get when fighting Errol Spence and beating him like he did. Another thing that was mentioned in the interview was his performance against Diego Corrales some odd years ago, where he put on a dominant performance, dropping and stopping Diego Corrales multiple times and getting the W. Now, that performance was a great performance, and obviously a lot of people have drawn comparisons between that performance and Terence Crawford's performance against Errol Spence Jr. The difference that he said in the interview was that both fighters, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, were in their 30s, and Diego Corrales and himself were in their 20s. So the magnitude of the fight was another thing that was mentioned as a difference between the two. Now, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, they fought for undisputed, all the belts. Diego Corrales and Floyd Mayweather didn't fight for all the belts, but still was regarded as a pound-for-pound fight, even though all belts weren't on the line. But I think some takeaways that I had were I don't believe Floyd Mayweather really likes it when other fighters have the limelight or their name is buzzing and his name may possibly be forgotten about. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think Floyd Mayweather's name will ever be forgotten throughout the sport of boxing. He's regarded as one of the greatest fighters of all time, if not the greatest fighter of all time. But there's been a lot of comparisons between himself and Terence Crawford. Now, Terence Crawford, he is a two-time undisputed champion in two separate weight classes. He went and got the WBO belt, I believe, at lightweight, 135 pounds, along with the lineal. And since then, he's undisputed in two other weight classes. That's something that Floyd Mayweather has never done. Floyd Mayweather has won belts in 5 separate weight classes, but never has he went undisputed. So I think when we're drawing the comparisons, one thing that he may not like is that we say that Terence Crawford is undisputed. He's more accomplished so far in the 3 weight classes that Floyd Mayweather competed in. Terence Crawford's career isn't over. He still has things that he wants to accomplish in the sport. But I do think if Terence Crawford goes up to 154 pounds and goes undisputed back to back to back, then we have a real serious conversation about Terence Crawford possibly being the greatest fighter ever, at least top 5. Again, I just think that Floyd Mayweather, he doesn't really like it when people have the limelight. I don't know why that may be, but we've seen in the past with some of the comparisons that were made with him and Andre Ward. Now, Andre Ward is a 2-division champion, former Olympic gold medalist, went undefeated with a record of 32 wins, no losses. I believe he had 16 or 17 wins by knockout. He's a Hall of Famer. I would consider him possibly in my top 10 fighters of all time. But after the first Kovalev fight, Floyd Mayweather went on record saying that he thought Andre Ward lost. He discredited Virgil Hunter, the trainer of Andre Ward, saying that he believes that he wouldn't have him in his corner if he were Andre Ward, and questioned whether or not he had the ability to actually be a trainer, considering he's never actually been a professional fighter. Now, some of those comments were not taken too well by Andre Ward. I forget exactly what he said, but I know for a fact that he didn't really like that. And then it prompted Floyd Mayweather to make another video and apologize for some of those things that he said. But one thing I will say about Floyd Mayweather is that since that incident, he's matured a lot in some of his videos he's came out with, his interviews, some of the answers he gives back. He's been a fighter since retirement that has, I feel, only promoted the sport of boxing and has promoted all the young champions coming up. We saw him recently working with Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis, along with Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis in the past. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Drop a like, hate, comment, subscribe. Till next time, deuces.